And now we're live on YouTube. Okay. We're sitting here watching the little spinny thing say the stream is connected. We're waiting on YouTube. Okay, fine. Let's do this. Good morning. It's Thursday on the Brushfire Mind, and we are live. I've got Cameron Anderson with me, and he is apparently driving through some beautiful countryside there. I see a yellow hazard sign flash by. Hopefully he doesn't explode. Here's what we're talking about today. And phew, buddy. Fact checkers on Facebook. And guys, if you post something on Facebook or Twitter or any of these and you get hit with the fact checkers coming in and saying this is false information, take a peek. And hey, let me know. Come in here and say something on the feed. Let me know if that stuff's going on. I'm gonna turn off the call in today, and we're just gonna dig into this. So, Cameron, I already told you about what we're looking at. You've taken a look at the meme. So Dave, who's this is in fact my personal Facebook feed. We're not going to scroll up and down it much. Dave is a constant viewer. We're gonna try not to dox anybody here, but I really wanted to share this with you. So, it says partly false information checked by independent fact checkers. PolitiFact says Harris did not call Biden a racist during her busing attack. Oh, really? These people are liars. And here's how it works. So, the claim they make, Harris did not call Biden a racist during her busing attack. That sentence is very, very technically true. But only in the most technically true possible way. Okay? That sentence is technically correct. Now, here's a question though. This meme says, remember that time when you said that you believed Biden's sexual accusers? I would like to point out that time when she said she believed Biden's accusers was not during the busing rant where she lied about being involved in the desegregation via busing, which, by the way, was a disaster. And then it says, and that Biden was a racist. That was awesome. Okay, it's a funny meme. We've seen this meme used before. But, like I said, the claim that she didn't call him a racist, this is how they lie. This fact check is a bald-faced lie. Robert A. Heinlein, in writing as the character Jubal Harshaw in Stranger to Strangeland, said the best way to lie is to tell the correct amount of truth.
Yep.
Boy, oh boy. So
and
right there,
Marxist media to a T.
Oh yeah. So the claim that is made by PolitiFact on this is that she didn't call him a racist during her busing tirade. Technically, she didn't say, you're a racist. She didn't. But let's go to the transcript. She starts off, I would like to speak on the issue of race. Preface this, blah, 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 blah. Give her 30 seconds. Okay, on the issue of race, I couldn't agree more that this is an issue that is still not being talked about truthfully and honestly. And you know what? I actually agree with Kamala Harris on this. The issue of race is one that is not being discussed truthfully and honestly in this country. For example, there are many people out there who still perpetuate the bald-faced lie that the police are killing unarmed black men in large numbers and without provocation. We covered that on this show just a few weeks ago. Of the 9, that's right, only 9 unarmed black men that are listed as having been killed by the police last year, 6 of them were armed. They were listed as unarmed victims of police brutality. 2 of them were driving a car and attempting to kill a police officer with a car when they were shot. 2 of them had actual firearms in their possession and were only listed as unarmed because they didn't fully draw the firearm before they were shot. Like, they were actually armed. Of the 9, 3 were legitimately not armed, and of those 3, one of them was was one of the PCP freak strength attack things, and the other 2, the officers were charged for having been involved in a bad shoot. And one of the ones that was listed was another case like it wasn't Tamir Rice was the little boy with the toy gun, right?
Right. Dude, rabbit hole.
No, it's not. Because the point is the lying without actually technically lying. But she's right. The issue is not being talked about truthfully and honestly. Reference the 1619 Project, right? The George Floyd situation, that it was a malicious, racially inspired murder. The Ahmaud Arbery situation, that he was jogging and did nothing wrong, right? Even Rayshard Brooks, they tried to sanctify him a bit, and that didn't last very long once the real video came out, and he clearly fired a weapon at the police officers. Buddy, I hope Officer Rolfe just guts the Atlanta City police and the mayor and that shitbag prosecutor. Damn it. I'm trying not to use the 4-letter words on the channel anymore. I'm trying to get the numbers up. I don't know. It's supposed to help with the algorithm. And so she goes, growing up, my sister and I had to deal with the neighbor who told us her parents said she couldn't play with us because we were black. I doubt it. Anyway, so I will say also that in this campaign we've also heard, Jesus, Kamala, she's not exactly a brilliant speaker. I'm going to direct this at Vice President Biden. I do not believe you're a racist. Nice. Okay. I agree with you when you commit yourself to the importance of finding common ground. Well, that's very positive. I also believe it's personal. Oh? It was actually hurtful to hear you talk about the reputations of 2 U.S. senators who built their reputations and careers on the segregation of race in this country. It was not only that you also worked with them to oppose busing. There was a little girl in California who was part of the second class to integrate her public schools. She was bused to school every day. That little girl was me. I will tell you that on this subject, it cannot be an intellectual debate among Democrats. We have to take it seriously. Okay. I have to go back and find that clip and use it. We need to use that over and over again. This cannot be an intellectual debate among Democrats. We have to take it seriously. You know what, Kamala? You hit the nail on the head. Anytime you're having an intellectual debate amongst Democrats, what you are doing is definitely not taking something seriously. So, as Attorney General of California, I was very proud to put in place a requirement that all my special agents would wear body cameras and keep those cameras on. Yeah, we're going to be looking at that, too. And Biden goes on to defend himself. It's a mischaracterization. I do not praise racists. That is not true. Number one. Number two, if we want to have this campaign litigated on who supports civil rights and whether I did or not, I'm happy to do that. So, you see, right? I mean, right there. She implied that he's a racist. She said, look, I don't, it's not like I believe that you smoke 4 packs of cigarettes a day, but your breath smells, but would you like a mint?
Yeah, look, everything that comes after the butt.
Exactly.
I mean, that's what it is.
She said, I don't think you're a racist,
but
I did see you wearing a white sheet and burning a cross in my yard this morning. So the fact check piece there is a lie. Now here's the part that I want to talk about on. Here's what I really want to talk about on that. There's a couple things I want to talk about. Let me get to the big one second. Let me just tag this real quick. I typed into Bing. What the hell is happening? Stop it. My mouse has been overtaken by a Guardian news article. What is this madness? Okay. So I just Googled Kamala Harris called Biden a racist. Guess what that comes up with? Okay, you got a couple of quick headlines, just the two of them with the whole VP pick thing. And then there's just a flood of articles. August 12th. That would be yesterday. Why do people think Kamala called Biden a racist? Kamala, Snopes, fact-checked false. Snopes, you're lying. 1 day ago, Cavuto fact-checks Trump on claims that Harris called him a racist. 1 day ago, The Sun, why do people think Harris called him a racist? Cavuto fact-checks, right? The whole first page of Bing, and then the whole second page until blast phony Kamala Harris an ad. Harris did everything but call Joe Biden a racist. From Teen Vogue. See, now we're getting back to July. Breitbart. There you go. An interview with Jill Biden, and Jill Biden said Kamala tried to paint Joe as a racist. That is a true statement. She tried to have her cake and eat it too, is what she did. She tried to have it both ways. She said, I don't think you're a racist, and then she accused him of some very stark racism. And let's be perfectly fair to Kamala on this. She did bring receipts, because she didn't just say, I think you had racist opinions in the past. She pointed to, you actually were involved in actively supporting racist legislation. You want to talk about systemic racism? We do not have systemic racism in this country. However, had Joe Biden been successful in some of his previous legislative maneuvers, we would. And in fact, to the extent that we do have systemic racism in this country, like the whole thing with the prison system, black men are incarcerated at a higher, well, they commit crimes at a higher rate. And they commit a certain type of crimes at a higher rate. And that's a whole rabbit hole that we're not going to go down, but Biden owns that. That's Biden's mid-90s, the Biden crime bill. I mean, it's literally called the Biden crime bill. He didn't sponsor it. He didn't co-sponsor it. He didn't just vote on it. He wrote it. That's his baby. And of course, that's exactly who you want in charge of the country, with his descendant of slave owners who supported the slave state in California by artificially extending incarcerations for the purposes of maintaining cheap labor at the state. Kamala Harris. Good job, Sunshine.
Well, I mean, I guess you could argue that it's hereditary.
All us white supremacists out here really applaud your efforts toward the cause.
Ooh.
Ugh.
Did you just quick aside, are you tracking that I think it's Finnish Kamala means horrible?
Yes, I also watch Tim Pool's videos.
Hey,
Apparently,
look,
it means horrible, terrible, bad, nasty, uh, and also infernal.
oh, horrible Harris.
Horrible, horrible Harris.
Anyhow, I got a good chuckle out of that one. Not trying to derail you.
Oh no, 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 you're fine. So here's what I wanted to get back onto. It's something we've talked about before. Um, this is insidious, and it's a real constant threat, and that's a mosquito. Look, I got him! Ha! Little bastard. Must have come in with me when I went out to smoke a minute ago. Anyway, so that fact check's going to be up there. There's not a reply. You can't reply. There's nowhere on there that you could say, hey, wait a minute. This fact check is false. You can't just, like when, for example, if I post a video of me wearing a MAGA hat, there will be a little button up in the corner that you can click so that you can report it as hate speech or terrorism. But when yellow journalists are actively conducting malicious propaganda campaigns, you're not allowed to fight that. I mean, we can do this show. We can have a conversation about the grossly immoral propaganda tactics that are being employed by these fact-checking companies. But you're not allowed to respond. This is not different than the habit of the press to write a false article, to create fake news. Like, for example, to suggest that Donald Trump told everybody that they should drink bleach in order to prevent the coronavirus, or that he told everybody that they should drink fish tank cleaner, or that the woman who murdered her husband with fish tank cleaner was a staunch, long-time Republican. Nothing doing. If they print a retraction, that retraction is on the equivalent of the 13th page and in small print. They print the retraction where nobody's going to read it. If they get called out on their bullshit, they print the retraction where nobody will read it. So that even though their lie continues to be believed, a handful of us will get at the truth and know what has happened. But there are still people out there who believe that Donald Trump has been legitimately accused by 25 women of rape and sexual harassment. And just real quick, go read those accusations. Most of them are things like, well, he invited me up to his penthouse for a steak, and I brought my girlfriend along, and then he tried to kiss me when we were leaving. Hey, he didn't grab a titty? He didn't slap your ass? No, he just leaned in for a good night kiss as we were leaving his penthouse, after having voluntarily gone up there to watch him spend thousands of dollars on an elaborate steak dinner with nice expensive champagne and wine. Oh, yeah, you poor thing. One of them is literally an adult film star who met him at a party. He invited her to leave the party, and they walked on the beach. And as they were walking on the beach, he asked her if she wanted to come back to his hotel room. And she said no, and they parted ways. That's one of the claims. I'm not even going so far as to say that the claims are false. Sure, I believe these women. I believe that Donald Trump spent huge amounts of money on dating them briefly, and then propositioned them for sex, and when he was declined, went away without incident, because that's the story they tell. And so it's, yeah, you can believe those women, but if you also believe that the thing those women described is the same thing as rape, you're an idiot. More probably what you are is someone who hasn't bothered to read the accounts. Somebody said Donald Trump's been accused by 25 women of rape.
Oh no!
So even those, at worst, they accuse him of sexual harassment, and then if you read the story, it's nothing of the sort. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to propose, perhaps, there is a conversation that happens in the normal course of human courtship that is not the same as rape. Just throwing this out there. Hi, my name's Chris. Would you like to get a cup of coffee? And I understand. I know it's a thin line there. It's not rape. Asking someone to have a cup of coffee is different than raping someone. I know that's a controversial statement in 2020, but
it's the world we live in.
Rod says, don't forget all the Trump bankruptcies. Yes, all those Trump bankruptcies. Trump has filed bankruptcies on 1 or 2% of the several businesses that he's opened.
Well, we knew this was going to happen when Facebook decided to become the arbiters of truth. I mean, we knew this was going to happen. Like, we didn't think, we knew. And what's funny is I don't see a lot of the virtue signal memes fact-checked. Now, I follow leftists on Facebook just so that basically opposition research. And their bullshit is almost never fact-checked.
No, not at all. So, hey, maybe we should start a GoFundMe to open a Fact Check the Fact Checkers organization. We'll call ourselves the Watchmen.
Yeah, and part of what's funny to me is, like, that's exactly what I was thinking about. Who watches the Watchmen?
You're locked in here with me.
Oh, God. Oh.
Dogs get put down.
I should not like Rorschach as much as I do, but
why?
I do.
Rorschach was the hero.
He was also a psychopath.
Nah.
I mean, yeah, a little bit.
I don't know. No.
Either way, he's a ton of fun.
Yeah. Well, and at the end, what's his name? Alan Moore? That's the author, right?
Yeah.
Not Michael Moore, but similarly positioned politically. Alan Moore tried to write this story about the evils of capitalism and everything that isn't actual communism. And at the end of the story, it turns out that the principled, dedicated, right-wing nut conspiracy theorist he's the one that is morally and ethically correct. And the others decide that it's morally better. Oh, this might be something we've discussed before. The heroes, Alan Moore's good guys, decide that it's morally preferable to murder millions of people and blame it on someone so that they can unite the world against a common enemy for the greater good. That's right, it's morally preferable to murder everyone in New York City with a single giant atom bomb type explosion and then blame it on the big blue god so that they can avert nuclear war. A nuclear war, which I might add, as we know from history, was averted without murdering millions of people.
Well, I don't think you're taking it far enough. He said it was okay to murder millions of people in order to usher in the peaceful New World Order.
Yeah.
But
basically, he was an Antifa sympathizer. And that's one of the interesting things about left-wing media is, left-wing entertainment. Oh God, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said it. Now we're down that rabbit hole. Okay, we are not going to go far down this rabbit hole, but I'm just gonna point out, amid their attempted propaganda over the last several years, the lefties have accidentally let the mask slip, like a lot. I'm not sure to what extent that statement is true about the several Marvel movies that have had positive and reasonable messaging, like the second Captain America movie, where the Obama administration's overt spying and hyper-centralized surveillance state was criticized ad nauseum, or Civil War, where
you could read that as a pro-Second Amendment movie.
Safest
hands are still our own.
I mean, Captain America said, "I won't sign the gun restriction legislation because the safest hands are still our own," and he's the good guy. He's the winner. He's the one that's right at the end of the movie. And frankly, throughout the whole movie, like throughout the whole film, it's not just that he's right in principle at the end. It's as the movie develops, it turns out that Tony Stark, the weapons manufacturer who decides to go Democrat, fails at every turn. And he fails at every turn because he's a leftist at heart. And when you try to apply those principles, you fail at every turn because your first principles are dishonest.
So
okay,
we've wandered pretty far afield.
We have, and look, and I'm gonna keep wandering afield on this one real quick, and this might be a whole show on its own. Stark wanders off down that rabbit hole, and he's proved wrong at every turn because of the compromised first principles, like I said. Consider the history of the United States. Following those first principles that are the first principles of the Democrat Party, namely that it is morally preferable to take by force than to earn. Look at the history of the United States. The income tax. Oh, well, that's never going to be paid by anybody except for the wealthiest 2% of New Englanders. Yeah. And all of a sudden, everybody, by the end of the 20s, the top marginal tax rate is 90%. A tax rate is being applied to all Americans. And it's not until JFK that we get it knocked back down from 90 into something more reasonable, like the mid-50s. And then, of course, we learn, we see that not only do those ridiculous, like the Great Depression. Oh yeah, it was because of corrupt traders on the stock market. Oh yeah, I'm sure that the timing of it had nothing to do with the confiscation of 90% of revenues from, and that just goes on and on and on. The war on poverty, the welfare state. Oh, that's interesting. The cost of the welfare state since its inception is almost identical to the $23 trillion U.S. national debt. I wonder if those two things are related at all. We've spent ourselves into inordinate debt because we're feeding the inadequate. Stop feeding the less adequate. And I could go on, but I think I've made that point. And in fact, it's after 8. We should probably start wrapping up because I've got a dental appointment this morning. I got to get out the door.
Yeah, I have to go to work. I'm actually sitting in the parking lot of my first appointment.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining. Hey, we had a pretty good crew in the live chat this morning. I apologize for not spending more time reading your chats, but thanks for popping in. Lindsay, I see you said Isaac says hello. Good morning to both of you. Good morning, Rod. Thanks for hanging out. Steve, Alex, Drew's in there. Thanks for showing up, guys. Thanks for watching. And we'll see you tomorrow for Firearms Friday. Y'all be safe out there. And it's time to go to work.